Good evening and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world, but not in that way. I am Zach Law, and this is Sharona Stormborn, and this week we both bring the beer, and nobody brings the guests. Just the two of us.
See?
Yeah, Sharona got the small mug this week.
It's all good,
Sharona's
though.
from a remote location this week, right?
hmm I'm not broadcasting from my regular abode. I am out of town, and I'm hanging out with some wild animals here sitting beside of me, so we'll see how this goes.
Wild animals. I like that.
Wild animals.
Well, depending on how things shake out, I guess we'll do an early show next week because I'm going to drive to Nashville on Wednesday, but I will be in Nashville, so
Woo!
maybe we should meet up for live drinking and live showing.
Hey,
Or
yeah.
just drinking, hold the show.
There you go. You'll play video games again.
There you go. Did we talk about this last week? That Nintendo Mini thing with all the original games?
We sort of touched on it, but didn't really talk about
But
it
not
much.
the...
Because your brain can't handle talking about gaming for more than 2 minutes before it explodes.
Well, I just can't keep up, It's kind of like I didn't feel prepared because I was like, hey, let's do this segment where we both say two crazy things about what we think is going to happen in the NFL this year, but one's true and one isn't. And I was like, I need to study more. Like, I guess it's good that it's July because I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I have a feel for anything yet, says the guy who just finished a 22-round draft, right?
Yeah, so when did you guys get through? We finished up over the weekend. I was so happy.
Well, we were done. Maybe I should move my screen. Yeah, that's a good idea. So you don't get the blinding thing when I switch screens. I was just looking at my
Well, now you're kind
roster. It
of...
was like a week ago. We were one of the first leagues to finish. Out of,
yeah.
was it 40 drafts? We were probably like the fifth or sixth to finish. Pretty quick. Kind of tailed off after like the second day, but we did very nicely. I was just thinking, since you did just finish, how do you feel about your team? Do you have
my team.
did you think, whatever strategy you had, did you stick with it, or did you just kind of do what everybody said who we interviewed? Best player available. Let the players drop to me. Come on, people.
I did, well, sort of, kind of. I don't know. I kind of... Sorry. My lipstick's a little bright. I'm trying to tone it down a little bit.
Come on.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. So, my philosophy is kind of let the draft come to you, and, don't... I'm not a trader. I don't... Of course, this is, can you even trade in the Scotty Fishbowl? I'm not... think so.
Only waivers, and that's not available till the season starts. So
yeah.
if you get a few injuries, you are screwed.
So, I pretty much did that. I mean, everybody has their own way of doing things, and I was playing with people that I'd never... I don't think I know hardly anybody in that league. And so, of course, I've met some people now through the draft process, which is great. And shout out to Scott for putting this together. Such a great thing. So, so I kind of was like, I'm going to let it fall to me, but, and I'm as big a fan of value as anybody. And I did get some really good value picks, but I was also like, this is a deep league, and what's going to be there, because I was picking at the bottom end. My pick was, I had pick 11. And so I kind of got to pick back to back, but then there would be a long gap until I would draft again. And so I was like, what are the odds of this guy being there through, that process? And so there were some guys I kind of jumped on maybe a little early, but yeah, I like my team, and I thought I drafted your guy, Chris Johnson. You should be happy about that.
Chris Johnson, yeah, it seems like he might actually have kind of like flex value every week because David Johnson he didn't go into last year thinking, oh, David Johnson, he's going to be the guy. And then when he came in, he was amazing and he scored touchdowns all the time.
Well, I sort of
But
kind
Chris
of did because I
Johnson
had him
played
everywhere.
really well as the starter for like
Yeah,
11 weeks last year.
yeah,
And
yeah.
guess what? Most running backs don't play 16, so grabbing, you have to think about backups. And I like to think of,
Well, it's cuffing season. I'll show you my roster.
well,
Uh,
yeah. I was saying I had a theory, you talk about like handcuffs. Like I drafted Ezekiel Elliott and I picked up Darren McFadden late because apparently he's dead because I got him like in the 20th round. And I drafted James Starks, and I like to refer to that as the fuzzy handcuff because you're taking somebody else's handcuff. And that's really
see,
bright because it's on my main screen. Um,
I
right, you
have.
took Alex Smith and Tyrod early, so you feel set at quarterback. You got some nice running ability. That's good stuff.
Well, I wanted you to see I took, not only did I take Chris Johnson and David Johnson, but I took
Right,
Andre Ellington too. Okay, I'll take that off.
that's an amazing amount of. Yeah, you own the Cardinals running game. So
Oh,
basically,
wait,
Derrick
sorry.
Henry needs to be really good, or you're screwed. Running backs. Like I don't know, Justin Forsett. That's
That's
kind of sad.
it. Yeah.
What division are you in? League? What?
I am in the leading men Tom Hanks division.
It's funny. You got the leading men. I got the leading ladies.
Yep.
Because I'm Jennifer Aniston. Although, how many movies has Jennifer Aniston been the lead in? Like two? I mean, I don't know. I
More
don't feel like
than that.
her movie career. She's at the point. I think she's got enough money where it's like she just does it movies whenever the hell she feels like it.
Well,
That's my theory. It's not like she ain't got it anymore because she's still on freaking covers of magazines every week about whether she has a baby or not. Damn, they're not
I
going to
know,
keep that
right?
up all the time. But
She wrote a pretty
which division?
interesting. Tom Hanks.
Tom. Oh, that's right, Tom Hanks, baby.
Yeah. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've drafted. Oh, Darius Sproles. I thought that was a good pick. I got him fairly late. Um, so yeah. I mean, my biggest problem is I need these other guys to be fairly decent because half of my roster is on the Cardinals and has that week 9 bye. My wide receivers, I thought I did pretty well there. Still got Philly Brown like with my last pick or something like that.
Billy Brown. There you
Oh, and
are. Phil
I
female.
yeah, and I drafted Darren Fells, who I probably like a whole lot more than Uncle Bruce does, but I'm hoping
Mm,
Uncle Bruce is going to use him this year.
that's
So
right.
anyway,
Doesn't use the tight end very much.
yeah.
See, I like your comments because like you go with the all caps on a lot of them. YOLO for Derrick Henry because in the third round, yes, you're like, hey, why not?
Well, then that's what I was saying
But
last
you have to do
week.
the turn. You have to at the turn. You have to reach sometimes because you got
You
like 30 picks to
do.
your next pick, and the way quarterbacks go, it's pretty crazy.
And I was like, it only, and I mean, want, I, I want him on at least one of my teams, and I am probably a bigger believer than anybody.
Yeah.
But I wanted him, and he was there, and I looked at, I mean, it kind of came down to him or Lamar Miller. And, I know most people would have taken Lamar Miller, and that's fine. I really came very close to taking Lamar Miller. But I was like, damn it, I want my boo Derek. So I took him.
You drafted an Alabama player.
I like Alabama players as long as, the college football season
See,
is
yeah, I
over.
had a feeling. I looked and it wasn't. Lamar Miller went like in the second
And they're
round,
not
so he
assaulting
wasn't available,
women.
dude. He wasn't available. He was in the third round last year, maybe, but damn. Yeah, there's a lot of love for Lamar Miller, which is I don't know. We'll see. He's never, when a player hasn't done it in his career and he's been
I
around for 4
know.
years, you got to go. Did the Dolphins know something? Because they would never give him like more than 15 carries.
I'm
Just
kind of
never.
still in prove it mood with him. Prove it mood. Yeah.
Prove it mood has it. We haven't
Mood
introduced our
mode,
beverages
whatever.
yet.
I
I
know we
got
haven't.
one of my old favorites, the Hebrew Messiah Nut Brown Ale, because that's
Oh, I almost I had a nut brown ale. I almost went with that. I am drinking
And Wild Heaven
a
Eschaton.
oh, I'm
Best
sorry.
name right there.
I
You have the
didn't
best
mean
one.
I didn't mean to
You go
interrupt you
ahead. I've
there.
already named
I'm
one.
so
You should
sorry.
go for it.
No, I only have one that I'm going to drink
I'll have
because I'm
one.
like exhausted. I had three. Again, I'm not at home. It is a local favorite from Memphis. You
Memphis.
got you got to get up to get down, and it's a coffee milk stout. You guys know
Hmm.
I like stouts, and I don't have a frosty mug, but I did select a very awesome coffee mug to drink it in. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, Wild Heaven, this is Eschaton. This is a quad, so it's
ah,
super
I
dark
see
and
it.
mysterious.
Can you hold it up again? Can I see it?
It's a nice bottle. It's very lovely.
It is. I was thinking.
Got
Oh
like
wait, I'm
horses and
sorry.
stuff.
There we go. I did that 2 weeks in a row. I'm so sorry. It is a lovely bottle.
Yeah, I went a whole whopping like 2.5 weeks without picking up beer, and I was so
Yeah,
excited that
now I
I went
heard
to a
you made a
local
beer
place.
run. What else did you get?
Yeah, there was the beer that I had a few weeks ago, and it's by Wild Heaven as well. And it features the eschaton as the base, and then six different sours they put together. It's called Dionysus, and it's like
Oh,
the best beer I've had all year. And it's only in Bombers, and it looked like it was gone. Like I said, I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna buy as many as I could, and they had one. So of course, I bought it and drank it. And then the local bottle shop I went to had like a case, and I'm like, I really like this beer, but it's like 14 bucks a bomber, and I can't buy like 10 of them. So I bought two, and I drank one that night, and it's really good. But it's unfortunate. I was talking to Mike Margosian, who's beer guy. Anytime I have beer obsession, I talk with him, and it was like, yeah, bombers kind of suck because you pretty much have to drink them in one night, and it's like 2.5 beers, and it's usually pretty high alcohol, and you have to really you have to be on the couch. Don't move around a lot.
good to know.
But anyway, yeah, we're set, and so do you like other
Yes.
players you're like very excited to have, and one that you're like, well, maybe not.
Okay.
Let me adjust my screens here so I can flip
Yeah.
back and forth and take a look at these
Let me pull it back up.
picks. Am I still in here?
So
Yeah, this is yours.
yeah. So I it's cuffing season again. I took Ted Ginn 13, 14, somewhere around there, 12, 13,
I was
14,
kind of
somewhere.
surprised how late he went, just because
Yeah.
he had so
He,
many great weeks. Everybody's
yeah.
assuming that Devin
Right.
Funchess is like the guy. And of
Yeah.
course, Kelvin Benjamin's coming off a knee injury, and
Yeah.
he's being drafted like he had the exact same year that he had his rookie year, instead of
I
tearing his
know it's
ACL
crazy.
and breaking poor Sharona's heart in last
I
year's
know, right?
Catfish Bowl.
Yeah,
He was the All ACL team last year.
he's a guy who's, fantastically gifted and had a great rookie season, but as you mentioned, he hasn't played in over a year and or will be over a year by the time the season rolls around and well, it already is over a year. And so um it used to be 18 months and now, ACLs are doing a lot better and quicker and all of that, but you just never know. And Devin Funches kind of sucked last year. I mean, I think that and he was a very highly hyped guy, and so
Yeah, he had
you know,
moments. Wasn't he drafted pretty close to DGB?
yeah,
DGB has a little more athleticism. It seems like Funchess was almost the same guy as Kelvin Benjamin, like almost a tight end, like a
yeah,
really big guy, but doesn't have a lot of speed. And I don't know.
yeah.
It's funny how
So I was like, well, he'll probably still get some special team work, and a lot of my guys. That was one thing that I looked for this year in doing my Scotty Fishbowl draft was dual guys like that who would also get opportunities on special teams, just to kind of up those odds. And so I was like, he'll probably get special team work, and we don't know. Everybody was, kind of saying, well, he's going to be behind Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funches. And I kind of more look at it like a vertical line, not a horizontal line. And I think that they're going to, and he's got a rapport with Cam Newton. There's no question about that. And so I think it's going to be a lot more even than what people think. But then I hedged my bets later on, and with my last pick or next to the last pick, I can't remember which, I took Philly Brown, who's another wide receiver for the Panthers, and he's got special teams abilities as well. So my first pick was Nuke Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins. I got him at pick 11. I thought that was just an outstanding place to pick him. I also, did you notice I took two Titans this year? Did you even notice that?
Yeah, I was wondering,
Tajay
we should have Sigmund come on for like 2
I
minutes,
know
just
he's
talk
gonna.
about the fact that you
He'll
drafted
hate
two
my
Titans
draft.
when he
I
totally
know.
smashed their fantasy.
I
Not that I
know.
would say the Titans players had a really high ceiling. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
when
Well,
you go to your friend's house and hope he has a decent beer. You know, but you go with the rookies because you get that crazy upside. And Taja, boy, we'll learn how to pronounce his name if he's actually good,
yeah,
and not
right.
just as a ploy to motivate Justin Hunter, right?
Yeah, I mean, he right now, he's
And
slotted
would you
as
get
a
him like
start.
18th round? I mean,
Yeah,
what a
I mean,
shot!
it was late, and so I was like, shit, sure, why not?
I've noticed that the Titans players have definitely fallen off. Like that's one thing I find fascinating about these
Yeah,
drafts is just you figure out where players are rated. Like Ginn was probably the 17th, 16th round, and it was like, yeah, but he had some winning weeks. Like he had some 2 touchdown crazy
yeah,
weeks, and why not? And I like DGB. I feel like he was a 7th round pick, and he went like in the 13th or something in ours. And Kendall Wright, I don't think he was there till the 18th. Like people forgotten he exists. So
yeah,
the Titans are definite values, but
yeah.
yeah, you had to get the UT guy and dad runner Jason Witten, which is good value at tight end.
Yeah, I
Weird to
like
see
my
Gary
tight ends. I thought
Barnidge having scored like 50% more than him last year, but there's nobody else in Cleveland, so I think
and
that's a good pick.
the one that's kind of, well, Darren Fells. I think you and I talked about him off camera a little bit. No, well, we were already on
It's
live,
all
I
on
think.
camera here.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, right. So,
We just don't record everything.
I mean, he's definitely probably their number one option at tight end if Uncle Bruce would ever figure out to use his tight ends.
Yeah,
And the only one that was kind of, I was like, Richard Rodgers just kept falling and falling and falling. And I know it's because of Jared Cook
the curse
and
of Jared Cook.
yeah, right. But I I really think he's going to be the guy. I do. But if not, I've got other options. So okay, all
Yeah,
right.
the
Let
tight
me
end.
take.
One point for tight end is I think that's the reason why I went kind of crazy and drafted a bunch of tight ends early. I mean, I took 4 tight ends in my first 9 picks, so yeah, I'm going that way. And I don't know. You have to decide in a league like this where you have 11 starting positions. You have to go like, all right, this position, I'm just gonna have to let go. And I think I kind of waited a lot on quarterback
Oh,
because I
did you?
took Philip Rivers. I got him in the like 7th, which was actually
Show
pretty
us
good
the
value.
goods. Let us see your
Shows the
roster. Show
goods.
us the
We're
goods.
getting there. We're getting there. It's slow, like my brain is slow. I hit the
No, I'm
button,
so.
but you never know. It doesn't always like me. It's interesting. Screen 1 and screen 2 say they show the same thing, so we'll see.
Oh, there it is. No, wait.
I
Here.
gotta scroll down here. Yeah, really, Liz Loza was the only person that I really know in my league, but yeah, I got Philip Rivers in the 7th, but then I waited and
Blaine
waited and
Gabbert.
waited,
Look
and my
at
quarterbacks.
you. You did. Oh, Lord,
The
Zach.
thing is, I think you get hit with a reality. You go,
Yeah.
well, Chip Kelly quarterback, and Sam Bradford was in that offense last year, but they couldn't run any of the quarterback options because he has no knees. Blaine Gabbert, though, actually can run a little bit, and he gets scared when he gets rushed, but hey, he has to make decisions quickly, so maybe he'll be good. The problem is he's on the 49ers, hasn't really done it before, didn't actually, he had a good fantasy run, not a good actual
Yeah.
run last year. So maybe somebody grabbed, like I took Blaine Gabbert I think in the 11th round, and somebody took
Oh,
Colin Kaepernick like 2 rounds later. And I
you
got Jared
also.
Goff. I got Jared Goff like in the 14th, just because I'm like, well, I know he'll start, and that's when I started. I started lobbying Scott Fish to give quarterbacks points per handoff because I feel like Jared Goff's going to get a ton of handoff points.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. So yeah, it's the I have 3 quarterbacks of the pulse kind of team.
I see
And
that you took Gary Barnage too. Woo!
yeah.
Gary
Mm-hmm.
Barnage. And you
Well,
got
I
my
mean,
Blue Delaney.
I took Ezekiel Elliott and Doug Martin, and then I waited on running back. And I'm really scared of my running backs after him. I mean, LeGarrette Blount, there's a news story today that he might not even make the team. It's the freaking Patriots, right? So,
Right.
Tyler Irvin catches passes. Darren McFadden's the backup for, Ezekiel Elliott. And then James Starks, in case Eddie
I like that
Lacy
pick.
stopped in
Yeah,
the donut shop
I
a few
like that
times.
pick. Where'd you get him?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
let
It didn't matter. I was just curious.
me go
Yeah,
ahead
no, I
and
like him.
turn that off so you don't see the bright light, bright light. You gotta look at us.
Oh,
Look at me, look. Yeah, and I did wait on receivers. Receivers really dropped in this league, so Brandon Marshall, I got like in the 5th round. Emmanuel Sanders like in the 7th or 8th. Willie Snead, and I had to throw a lot of numbers and mid-round picks at that spot. So Vincent Jackson, Mike Wallace, Paul Richardson was my last pick in the draft. We were at my wife was invited to a party, and it was talking about like lost Southern authors. So her and her friends were like talking about lost Southern authors while I was eating really good barbecue and deciding between Jamison Crowder and Brandon LaFell with my 21st round pick because my pick came up while I was at this party. I'm like, okay. So apparently Jamison Crowder won because that's who I took. I got Will Fuller. I don't know. I got a bunch of, but really tight ends. Yeah, I grabbed 4 early, and then I took Niles Paul in case or when break class and Jordan Reed gets hurt.
yeah, yeah.
So that's my team, and that's I don't know about I had a strategy, and
Outside of your quarterbacks,
it
and
could go horrible.
your running backs are
All in on Zeke, baby. It's Zeke. It's a Zeke world.
all
We're only
in on
living in
Zeke. Okay, well,
the
I
number
like
one
him.
selling uniform or jersey in the NFL right now.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
Although Jen says she doesn't like to draft rookies. She doesn't like to buy rookie jerseys. So she might buy an Ezekiel Elliott jersey in like 2022 or something. If it
When they
if it
go
goes
on
well.
sale, I'm a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
You
a
dip
good
her
one.
back, sure. Hi
But
Don,
this,
by the way. Hi
oh
Don.
yeah, say hi, Don. Don says he's watching on his phone or something. Well, what do you think about the Arian Foster signing by the
Yeah,
Dolphins? Is there
yeah,
anything left for after the Achilles tear and the fact that they don't play the Titans?
yeah.
What does he got? Does he jump? Because he went like in the 11th round in my league, and I was like, really? And so that might be a good value for a while, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's a guy who has had a large number of injuries throughout his career. He's knocking at 30. Is he 30 yet? He's getting close.
30 or 31, yeah.
Yeah,
UT
he's at
baby.
UT baby. He's at that point where running backs it's not a slow decline, it's a jump off a cliff, and he certainly had a lot of wear and tear, but if he's healthy, obviously he's fantastic.
And there was word that it's funny, J.J. had like this incredible, amazing like college career. Like he caught like 50 passes and ran the ball like 300 times in his last year. And then there was this knee worry, and it was like, "Oh, sorry, we don't like you anymore."
Yeah,
And it looked like he was
I
their
invested
guy.
heavily last year. It was awful.
He had a
Yeah.
few moments, but yeah, it looks like Arian Foster will turn 30 on August 24th.
Yeah.
And as a running back, he has to fall off a cliff. But it seemed like Jay Ajayi and then it was Kenyon Drake, like the Alabama basically backup running back, who was the third guy taken in the draft this year, which was kind of a reach, and it didn't look like he was a special teams guy, a third down guy. But it did sound like Ajayi was not getting the trust of the coaches in the receiving game, and in most leagues that aren't the Scott Fish Bowl, that's really important for fantasy to have a receiver who catches passes. So yeah, I think it's a good veteran pick. Although muddies things up, and we hate muddy situations in fantasy. That make it clear, right? You want one
Yeah,
guy to get all the carries or all the
yeah.
beers.
Which is
Mm-hmm.
why I stay away from New England Patriot running backs.
Oh, LeGarrette Blount, y'all. He was one of those guys that I just thought
I did draft Danny
ninth to like
Amendola.
12th round, I was going to take him, and so I did, and we'll see how that goes. But let's see. So more NFL stories that I decided to pick up.
Okay.
So the Colts didn't draft a running back, and you could have gotten a really good running back like in the 5th round. Like tons of good running backs were available. And then they say publicly, hey, we want to drop Frank Gore's workload. But who's taking it? Like Robert Turbin's the backup, and it sounded like he had a DUI or something recently, and they picked up this Josh Ferguson guy out of Illinois as a free agent, and he was actually taken in the 16th round in our draft. So people think he's going to be something this year. What are they going to do? I mean, Frank Gore isn't like over the cliff. He's like in the water. He's the Splat. What was that character in the comics that always would hit the ground? The Roadrunner and the Wile E. Coyote. He's like Wile E. Coyote's already been in the ground, like flattened for like 2 years at age 33. So, dang, he's the guy, huh? Or
Well, I
not?
mean, he was the guy last year for the most part, and
Hmm.
had a pretty decent year. It wasn't bad. Wasn't as good as some people expected, but their offense was just horrible. Their offensive line was horrible. I mean, I think that Frank Gore is still very, I don't want to use serviceable. I think he's a little bit better than that. But, I mean, obviously, how the Colts offense goes is how Andrew Luck and their offensive line goes.
I mean, I do recall last year, I think it was the Titans home opener after that pathetic loss to the Browns, and I got to hang out with Josh Gunnels, and he had a friend who had an extra ticket, so we were sitting in the nice seats for a little while, and I had Frank Gore in my fantasy league, and he scored a couple touchdowns. That was one of his good games for the year. That was one of
Well,
Andrew Luck's good games for the year. I
he's
think
like the he's like the new. Who was the Donald Brown?
Donald Brown. Damn it, Donald. Joseph Adai. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Frank Gore's probably going to be one of those like Hall of Very Good. I don't know if he's going to make it quite there, but man, he's had a pretty good career for a guy. I think he tore 2 ACLs before he even made it in the NFL.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of wondering who else is there. You have to start looking deep. Like remember Tim Hightower? Like nobody even remembered he was in the NFL. And he won team some championships. So you kind of have to look deep. Like in Miami, if like Damian Williams is like their 4th string guy, you're like, he might do something this year. And like in Buffalo, Mike Gillislee,
Hmm.
because the backup running backs to LaShawn McCoy, like one guy got a DUI, one guy got suspended for 4 games. It's like all of
And
a
is fat.
sudden, and of course, Sigmund Bloom, I saw he drafted because his league just ended. So sometimes there's an advantage of slower leagues. Like you hear this news and guys trickle up and you're able to take them. And none of that crap happened during my league. It was too quick. Actually, I like
Yeah,
that. I like it to be over, but then you're like, oh crap, how many months do I have till the season starts? I need a new distraction.
I thought ours went at a pretty good pace. I mean, it got a little slow at times, but that's to be expected. Um, but I had kind of like allocated time to really be focused on this because I've had resolved to do better this year, and so I was like, glued to my computer screen, hitting refresh all the time.
Yeah, it's true. So because we started fast, then we kind of tanked, but toward the end. But I don't know. I don't know why it takes you like 7 hours to pick a guy in the 15th round, but sometimes it happens. Although really it
Well,
was maybe an hour or two at a time. It was not that bad. But there's the couple news items from the fantasy gold mine that is the New York Jets. They're
oh,
talking about them having a timeshare at running back. Like people have been talking up Matt Forte, like he's gonna get his usual 350 touches. But he is, there are a lot of old running backs. They're
yeah,
gonna need some new blood pretty soon.
yeah.
They're gonna be begging the Titans for all their extra running backs pretty soon. Um, but do you think guys like Bilal Powell and hey, remember Kerry Robinson? Yeah,
Robinson, yeah,
he's still there, and I think he was a pick and late in some drafts. I don't know, maybe
yeah.
take him.
He got picked. He got picked in
saw.
up in our division.
He's one
Yeah,
of the guys when he gets a shot, he does well, and
yeah,
the
yeah.
Saints keep picking those undrafted late round running backs that do well and get a shot with the second
And
team.
the
But
Jets are interesting too because now we're starting to get the feel good Geno Smith stories. Like it's not, if we're because Ryan Fitzpatrick's dug in, baby, and he's
well,
like he's
yeah,
like he's like y'all want to start Geno Smith? I'm good. And he's back there sipping.
yeah,
Well, I don't know
I know.
what do Amish people sip on. Whatever Amish people sip on, he's sipping on it.
Rainwater. I don't know. I just heard it start raining. We're getting those summer storms because
And
it's freaking
we're getting ready
broiling
to.
lately, which
We're
is
getting
good.
ready.
I like it.
Yep.
But I don't know.
No.
I had Bilal. I don't know. I have a special relationship with Bilal Powell because like I drafted him as a rookie in a dynasty league, and I don't. He has to be the player I had on my roster the longest without ever starting him. Like I had him for 5 years, and I'm pretty sure I never started him. And then last year, he had this run of games where he got a bunch of catches, and it's like, well, he caught a bunch of passes last year, but isn't Matt Forte really good at that? I mean, but
Yeah.
then again, running backs don't play 100% of the snaps, so hopefully we'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't know that we can predict that, I mean, it's like,
Sharona,
um,
say we'll be okay. Say we'll be fine.
it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I mean, seriously, with the prospect of Geno Smith starting, I stayed away from Jets.
Yeah, Brandon Marshall. Although Brandon Marshall's had good seasons with quarterbacks like Tim Tebow, so
Yeah.
he's kind of like quarterback proof, and we're gonna find out if that's true one more time, right?
I mean, I would probably have taken one of those guys. They were never around when I was looking to, at them. Where did Eric Decker go in your league?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know the guys kind of dropped from where they normally went. He says, stalling as he clicks buttons, because that's good radio right there. Search button 805. Justin Wynn, man, that guy took a lot of good players. Yeah, there were certain pockets of receivers, like in the 7th round, a bunch went. Like here's a guy whose value actually goes up because of the league format. Like Tavon Austin went in the 7th, and because he carries the ball some, and you get bonus points for carries, although what are you going to get 2 a week? Yeah, he moved up a lot, but yeah, guys like Michael Floyd, Devontae Parker, and John Brown, Kevin White were in that area. Yeah, I had a good. Someone said, Kevin White is a beast, and I was wondering where he was actually be a good value because he's kind of like a rookie since he's never played, and they have Alshon Jeffrey, and well, they don't have much else.
Mm.
So I don't know if I'm that excited. I drafted him last year in rookie draft number 4, and of course, Bupkis year 1. So you feel like it's personal, Kevin White. He must have like hobbled really well during his pre-draft because he had like whatever fracture they fixed like in his shin. I think he
Hmm.
had that during the pre-draft process. Somehow he played through it, and then immediately he had surgery, and they were like, "All right, redshirt year."
Well, I think that they were smart to do that, and let him recover and come back because, forcing guys back and all that, that's
Am I too close to the camera? Sorry.
wasn't he they took him in the second round? He was second round
I think he was a first round pick.
first? Anyway, well, hi, one or
Some,
two.
some people thought he was better than Amari Cooper, obviously. Well, Amari Cooper's really the only rookie who had a good year. And Don says, I have my phone like over here, and I see Don like sending me messages like, Zach, why are you not texting? Because I don't text while I'm on a freaking show, dude. I talk, I say hi, we can communicate somehow. Don Funk, what a man, what a mighty fine man. Did hear good things about Brandin Cooks. Could be
Yeah.
a good receiver this year. I don't know why, but his name really hasn't been popping to me. I think a lot of people like kind of slandered him, and he didn't start strong last year, and then he really got hot toward the end of the year. And you take skill position guys when they have a good quarterback, and Drew Brees is pretty good. So yeah,
Yes, but the problem, and I love Drew Brees, and I've had years where I've invested very heavily in the Saints offense, but the problem is that he spreads it around so much, and you tend to get a little inconsistency there. Is Marcus Colston done? Do you think? I think he's still a free agent.
yeah, they had like Anquan Bolden in, who I thought might be kind of a well, obviously he's had a better career than Marcus Colston, but
I almost took
he's
Anquan Bolden
he's still
like toward the end.
put up pretty good numbers last year. I'm gonna have to look him up on like pro because I swear he had like insane numbers. Like didn't he have like the most touch catches like in his first 2 years? And the funny thing was he was the second receiver that the Cardinals drafted that year, and he ran like a really slow 40, and he actually played quarterback for Florida State like in their bowl game because he was yeah like in his first 2 years he had 100 catches and 50, then 100. And last year he had 69, dude, catches at age 35 for the 49ers, who were like really
Terrible.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. He'll get
He has
signed.
a thousand career receptions. I mean,
There's no question in my mind but that
that
he's
used to
going
be
to get
Hall of Fame
signed.
guaranteed. Now there are just so many receivers just putting up insane numbers. We'll see. But yeah, if anybody wants to take a chance, hey, Titans, let's just, let's make it a deeper wide receiver core, right? No?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, they've already got two veterans there, and he's kind of
Gotta
like,
say the roster spot for Harry Douglas, right?
well, I mean, he's where would he? I forget, where did the Niners line him up? Was it on the outside or in the?
Yeah, I think it was him and Torrey Smith most of the year, and Torrey Smith didn't have that great of a year, but damn, he's still been solid. I don't know if he's solid as his beer, but pretty solid.
Yeah, you seem to be kind of buzzing a little bit there.
He's delicious. It was odd because Saturday I had that Dionysus, which is like the sour. It's like my perfect beer in that it's a sour and it's got the dark side to it. And after I had that beer, I had one of these, which was, this is the base beer for that beer, the quad, and it just seemed a little too dark. So I was like, whoa, it's strong, it's a good 10%er. Nothing wrong with that, right?
I don't know what this is. I'll have to look it up. It's
We'll,
probably.
we'll get to my beer search because I do have a little bit on what's brewing, but we're not there yet. We're not
Oh, we're
there.
not there yet.
We don't
Okay.
have we don't have segments like
Taste.
professionals, but we're on our way. Oh, cat's outside my door. Wants to say, "What's going on, dude?
I heard.
Let me in." And I heard one last kind of rumor or story that Jordan Matthews was not a great fit in the Doug Peterson offense. And I kind of wondered because he's been the big slot for 2 years and had a lot of touchdowns and had a really good first 2 years. Hey, look, a guy from Vanderbilt, who knew? But does the kind of boring Kansas City style offense have a slot guy who gets a lot of attention, and can he line up on the outside? And all of a sudden, Philadelphia's offense looks like one you kind of want to avoid. Although I
Yeah.
did like the Sproles pick because it's Ryan Matthews and nothing, so
Yeah.
he should be on the field a lot.
And I still think at this he's still getting special team touches, or he was, and so I was kind of again, that was kind of my philosophy this year, was to get the duality guys like that. I came so close to drafting Jordan Matthews, but new offense, new quarterback, well, I mean, we'll see how the quarterback situation. um,
I think it's
the,
going to be Sam Bradford. There was a
yeah,
story about how Carson Wentz was going to be their inactive third guy. It's like,
I
well,
saw that.
we
But,
did
see,
sign
that
Sam
came out.
Bradford and Chase Daniel, Missouri baby, to like a combined $15 million this year. So it makes sense that they would be the first two guys
Well, that story
wasting their
came out
Carson Wentz's
after I
development.
had, yeah, that story came out after I had the opportunity to, well, I think we were already done by that point. But anyway, so that story hadn't dropped, but I was still like, I think I'm not gonna do it. So I avoided Jordan Matthews. Although I think he's a fantastic talent.
Yeah, he's still there. I don't know, fourth, fifth round in this style league. He's probably sixth or seventh. So I'm gonna do my two crazy predictions. Maybe we'll do it by position, and like this week, I'll do quarterback, and then maybe move on to running back next week or wide receiver. So I'm gonna throw out two crazy predictions,
Okay.
and Sharona gets to guess which one I actually think's going to happen, and which one I just pull out of my you know what. So crazy prediction number one: Tyrod Taylor turns into Ty Goat and is the number one scoring fantasy quarterback. And then crazy prediction number two: Jameis Winston, one of Sharona's favorite players, has a sophomore slump and isn't even fantasy rosterable.
I'm gonna have to say the second one is the crazy prediction. I mean, the first one, I mean, Tyrod Taylor was a top three fantasy quarterback 5, 6 games last season, and in the top five, when consistently. So it's not that's to me not all that crazy. I mean, we'll see how their offense does go, and but I mean, it's not that unforeseeable.
Yeah, I think the Ty God's the one that Ty Goat, as Danny Carter calls him, greatest of all time, because he was a guy that I got in a bunch of leagues. I think I got him in the Scott Fishbowl last year as like the 18th round pick because he wasn't guaranteed to be a starter. Like I mentioned before, like in my local keeper league, somebody drafted the other two quarterbacks for the Bills, but no one took Tyrod Taylor because he wasn't the starter yet. And because running quarterbacks had that extra bump, I
Yeah.
think he's going to do it. And he's playing for $3 million, which in quarterback money is like minimum wage.
Yeah.
And he's looking for a big contract. And it's
Mhm.
interesting to see the Bills are letting him go. Like even guys who are iffy, like Brock Osweiler, what's he? He got like 17 million or something a year.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think he's good. I don't know with the Jameis Winston, like he really hasn't had injury slumps, and you think about like sophomore slumps, but I don't know. It seems like Tampa's going to be all right, other than their horrid uniforms.
Yeah.
Go back
I don't.
creamsicle. Go
I
back
mean,
creamsicle.
I don't know that. It's certainly possible that he could have a sophomore slump, but it was the second part of that he's not even rosterable. That that kind of got me. Yeah, I think that you would still roster him, but
Quarterbacks so
but
deep.
could could there be a little bit of a sophomore slump? Sure. I mean, Marcus Mariota could have it. A lot of guys do it. Tyrod could do it.
Mariota's perfect. He will not slump.
Well, I hope not. I drafted Tajay Sharp.
In 2 years, Mariota could challenge Russell Wilson for the most boring robotic quarterback taking over the Peyton Manning mantle in the NFL. It could happen. Believe in Nash Vegas. So we haven't done this segment, and I don't know how long. Probably because we've had guests and stuff. Although maybe we did it when Sigmund was on, but we haven't done the hashtag over it or not. Or we're gonna have
Uh-huh.
maybe a little bit of non-sports talk here. But come on, it's 8:45. We're gonna have fun with this.
Okay.
So
Okay.
hashtag over it or not. Twitter banning an admittedly horrible person for harassment of Leslie Jones.
Nah. Complete. Nope. Nah. Nada. Nine. Nee. Nee. Nope. Mm-mm. Never. Um. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this on my podcast Friday morning. Um,
I thought that might be on the roster.
yes, I'm not even going to, I mean, as far as I know, this guy's only claim to fame is being a horrible person on social media. That's
This is
it.
a guy who his Twitter handle was the Roman emperor who, allegedly played the fiddle while Rome burned. How more obvious can you be as someone who is there to throw poo, basically? And
Yeah,
that's what happened, and basically the story. And I actually read, I read a profile about Leslie Jones about how she had been a stand-up comedian for like 25
yeah,
years and hadn't had her big break,
yeah,
and was like the oldest new hire for Saturday Night Live ever, and finally had her breakthrough
yeah.
role, like shit up on Ghostbusters, and then got absolutely shit on by Twitter. Like
I mean,
people just came after her. And when you're a stand-up comedian, you put up with crap, but you put up with crap with like a person at a time.
yeah,
On Twitter, you say Peyton Manning or Tom Brady's name, you get a lot of crap from people, but this is
yeah,
like 1,000 times that. And eventually she just, I don't know if she actually got rid of her Twitter account, but I know she said she was done, which I think if I were like in the public eye, I probably would have to consider that, because you're going to get crap no matter what you do. But man, did
yeah.
she get it. And it was just horrid to see how
It
people
was
were treated
vile.
online.
It
And
was
that
absolutely vile.
and that was like my second one, like going to see female Ghostbusters and the inability to see it as a movie. Like at this point, it's not just like a summer movie. It's like people think it's like some kind of feminist statement, and they want it to be bad, and then there are other people who really want it to be good, so it justifies women getting leading roles, and it's just like it's a freaking powder keg at this point.
Yeah.
Like no matter how
Um,
you feel about it, it's just like, oh boy, do I even
I,
want to bring it up? It's gonna be trouble.
I'm definitely going to go see it. That is on my to-do list. Possibly, well, maybe, yeah, tomorrow or Friday. But yes, I intend to see it. The initial, you know, you I don't pay a whole lot of attention to reviews because I don't usually agree with them. But the initial indication was not too good, and then other people started going to see it, and they liked it, and so I think that, um, and it sounds to me from people I trust that they enjoyed it, and I think I'll enjoy it too.
Well, based on like the first couple of trailers, it looked absolutely awful. Like it looked not funny, and then the reviews start trickling in, and it seems like it's kind of a B minus kind of movie, so it's good. My mom's a big fan of the original, so I'm like, when I go to Nashville, if she really wants to go see it, maybe we'll go see it. But other than that, I'm like not necessarily dying to see it. But it's almost like, man, what if this movie weren't called Ghostbusters and it was just like a sci-fi summer movie with four female leads? Would that have be any different, or did it still get probably still get the same crap? Because, um, yeah,
I don't know. Um, I think some men have their underoos in a wad because it is a remake and it has been sort of billed by some as a feminist um, thing. And, it's just two women taking a job and doing the best they can. And, who you going to call? Ghostbusters.
yeah. Although I think they were pulling a little too hard in a way. They're like, hey, it made 46 million bucks this weekend, and I was like, well, it had a budget of like 140 million, so it's probably going to lose money. But I don't know. It's like no matter what news comes out, it just gets just blown out of proportion one way or the other. And being on Twitter a lot, that seems to be the way things are going now. And of course,
Yeah.
one more subject, and
Okay.
we'll lighten up in a moment. Over it or nah, the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say over it. Even though so many people are getting exposed through this process. The sad thing though is that there are some people who will vote for that party regardless, and so, um, yeah, I mean, the Republican Party, the party of crazies, it's kind of insane.
I think 30% of people are voting Democrat or Republican if a dirty jockstrap was running for president at this point. It's just like, oh, it's the blue or it's the red. I'm going for it. I don't I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Like it's really that no press is bad press because even the continual bad stuff coming out is not affecting I don't think it's affecting the polls, but we'll see. I just remember when the debates were going on and the Republicans had like 20 people running and the Democrats really had two. There was way more attention on the Republican side, and I wonder if that's going to continue when Democrat conventions next week. If people are just going to be like, "Yeah, let's move on," which is probably good because we have another 19 months till
It's
we vote. I'm sorry,
no,
only like 4, but it seems like 19.
yeah, it's
Actually, it's
it's
like
still
3.5. We're getting there.
it's yeah, it's not 2 years, but it's
I was
long enough to drive us all crazy.
I was kind of thinking like, there's a chance that maybe I'll go to the LSU Missouri game, which is on October 1st. And I'm like, that's still a month from the election. I don't know, man. I don't know. Whew, that's rough. Over it or not, you're gonna like this one better. Drinking with me in Nashville next weekend.
Oh, nah. I might actually get to meet Allison. I'm so excited.
We're coming up to Nashville, so we're gonna be in Nashville Thursday, probably coming home on Sunday. So the window's a little more wide open. Like when I come up for a Titans game, it's usually like I come up Saturday, leave on Sunday. So I don't really get much socialism since my parents are like, hey, we don't see you other than football season. So yeah, we'll get some quality time with them. But if you want to get to the town, let us know and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Lots of fun.
Doing tequila shots like
No, that was
that's a
fun.
March Madness
Free
bar hopping
tequila,
experience.
free tequila shots. That was great.
It's like, you guys go ahead. You're doing tequila shots and drinking like Budweiser.
No,
Oh
I
boy.
was drinking Bud Light. That was, yeah. I didn't. I only
Well,
had
that
one,
second bar
and
I went to, all the beers were in a can, and I was still in my no beer in a can kind of phase. So I was like,
yeah.
oh man, what do I do? So yeah, it didn't work out so
I
well.
don't like beer in a can either. I was actually thinking about that
There's some I
as
do.
as I was popping the top to this.
Yeah,
Um, which is why I had to have
beer
a
in a can
mug.
has come a long way.
It has come a long way.
The last of it or not, which is definitely a subject
Okay.
that'll probably come up on your next show or maybe in the next week or two. Jim Grobe, new head coach of the Baylor Bears, talking about
And
how things are just cool in Baylor land.
it's all good. I mean,
It's all good.
you know, yeah, I think that we're going to have to talk about that. Although I forgot to talk about the comedian who got such a warm and lovely reception from Nashville. We got to talk about that. Yeah, we'll probably talk about that as well.
Who got a warm reception in Nashville?
Louis C.K.
Oh, what happened? I don't even know about this.
Oh no, he had, his little comedy show, came to Nashville, and he was, you know, very warmly welcomed.
Is that good or bad? It seems like not so much.
Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, allegedly he has made life miserable for some female comedians because he he has harassed them and sexually assaulted them.
Man, that is not something I've heard.
It's not really much of a mainstream story because we can't have these things being talked about openly.
Man, the comedian's lifestyle, though. Jeez. But yeah, thinking about being a woman in any profession, but yeah, in like stand-up comedy, it's a tough one. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna sip my tea over here."
I'm just here.
Yeah,
I'm just here to
that
spread
beer must be
love.
pretty solid.
It's pretty good. I don't have my glasses on. I can't tell what the alcohol thing is. Just good. I'm done. I've only got a little smidgen left in the bottom.
Uh-oh.
I know.
Well, I figured, I did talk a little bit about beer earlier, but we could do a little what's brewing
Yeah, what is brewing, Zach?
about when you find out that, like, I won't exactly call it a whale. Like, there's a term in beer called a whale, which is like a beer that's really hard to find that people go crazy to get. But a beer comes in that is very limited, and as someone who not obsessively, but definitely follows local beer stores on Twitter, there was a beer I heard about a few weeks ago called Westbrook Key Lime Pie Goza. And I know Sharona's all like, what is this fruit beer nonsense? Yeah, exactly. Zach's talking about gaming. No. Um, and it was like Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and Greens, our local beer store, was like, "Hey, we have this in stock." And I was like, "How do I sneak out of work so I can go get this key lime pie beer?" So, I got out and I went over and I actually called and saw if they had it. And they were like, "Yeah, we got some left." And I picked up my 4 pack of 4% beer. Sharona yawns again. And I had one last night, and it's pretty good stuff. It actually looks like if you squeeze out a lime, like it's really
Yeah.
cloudy, but it's not quite smack you across the face, kind of like key lime pie is like super sour kind of sweetness. But it's pretty good beer, and actually, Allison had a sip and liked it. And if she had a sip and liked the beer, it's an odd event indeed. But because it was limited, like literally, they said, "Hey, this beer's in here at like 1 o'clock," and by 4, it was gone.
Oh
I
wow. Okay.
guarantee there won't be any more available. Westbrook's regular goes is pretty good, and it's kind of limited, but this beer was like super limited. So I have this 4 pack, and now it's like when you have a beer like this,
Now why is it
when
why
do I dole it out? Like, what special events do I have to save it for?
why is it so limited? Why don't they just make more?
Well, I'm guessing is there's like a variety of their beer. Like Westbrook has a beer called Mexican Cake that's like a stout, but it has like chilies in it. And when it shows up into stores, they might get like a case of bombers and they're gone. Like in people, there's actually a store in town that did like a lottery. Like people
Hmm.
showed up and they basically got to pick numbers to see if they got one. And this is just another beer by them, and there just isn't that much. The stores only get a certain amount, and then they're gone. And this happens fairly often. I mean, they only can brew so much, and I'm guessing this version they had just enough to send a few cases to Atlanta, and then that was it. But it's good, and it's different. It's of course a fruit beer, so maybe when I'm in Nashville, I'll bring one up, and then we can do a little Facebook video of us drinking that.
Oh Lord.
That'll be
Okay.
awesome. Because I did a little Facebook Live video, basically of me talking about my Scott Fish Bowl draft. I just wanted to try it out, new technology, see how it goes.
What did you think?
Well, I got on my normal Facebook on my computer. I'm like, why don't I have the option to do this? And it's only available on the phone. So I had
Oh.
my phone like leaning against my computer. Allison got this like little light thing that you can put on your phone to kind of bring the light on so you can do a video. So that's how I did it. And, I might occasionally. It's nice to just, if you want to pop off and talk, and that seems like half of what Facebook is now is videos. So why not? Maybe I can get my kitties to perform. When Soy's in the bathtub chasing his tail, that could be some quality video right there.
There you go.
It's all about the cat videos, to be honest. But yeah, and then I have to decide because this beer I really liked, we talked about before, the Wild Heaven Dionysus. Like they still have some in the store, and I really like it, but it's just damn expensive.
Yeah.
I can't afford my beer habit barely. That's the problem. But hopefully next week, FF DeGen, who sadly couldn't make it, working late nights there on the SVU TV program. Hopefully next week we'll be able to do it. I think we're going to do Tuesday because I'm driving to Nashville on Wednesday. And then the week after that, Bob Harris, football diehard. Listen to his
Yeah,
interview with Matt Harmon because it's great to hear about him like faxing a fantasy newsletter to people in 1993. Like seriously, this guy was there in the olden times. Ye olden times. He's lost a lot of weight and he's got a cat that's like the size of every cat I've had in my life combined. It's a
it's
big
a
cat,
big cat.
like 30 pounds. I'm like, damn. Plus, he lives where they film Breaking Bad and Better Call
Oh,
Saul, which is kind of cool.
awesome.
Living that New Mexico lifestyle.
Okay, that
So,
is cool. I've
yeah,
always wanted to go there.
I think it'd be fun.
I think so too.
It's one of those states like Georgia that smartly did like a tax rebate for movies and TV. And originally they were going to do Breaking Bad in LA, but they couldn't afford it, so they went to New Mexico. And lots of movies and TV being filmed in my hot Atlanta. Walking Dead and the such. But yeah, that's I guess that's like this show. So Sharona, what do you got going on? I know you're doing that there podcast of yours.
Yes, I am doing that there podcast of mine, and we will be back on Friday. I'm going to have an interview with. I've been wanting to do this because I talk a lot about uh, current social events, and so I'm very fortunate to have a law enforcement officer from Dallas, Texas, to come on, and we're going to
Oh, nice,
talk a little bit about some of the things. And
nice get. Probably might
I
be a
hope
little not jokey interview, but yeah, good one.
I hope to get his
Glad you.
perspective
Yeah.
on what we can do to make things better, and what he thinks about some of these things. And you guys know, um, I always am happy to entertain different thoughts and ideas, and so I'm really excited about that. And of course, we'll be talking about some of these other things. And I'm kicking around. I've got some writing things that I want to drop here pretty soon. So yeah, it's a busy time right now.
Yes, it is. A new season's about to begin for football.
Yep.
I think training camp starts in a week or two, and we're only like 6 weeks or so away from college football.
Not
Get them
bad, not bad.
student athletes going at it, right?
Yep.
So yeah, with me, I don't think I've posted in a while, so I'm just gonna say Zach_Law on Twitter. Yeah, that's where it is, and I'll give other people the love and try to retweet as much good stuff as possible. So thank you, Sharona, for being on as usual, and we will be possibly meeting in person next week. Oh yeah,
Possibly. Woo.
average blood alcohol content we've met, not low. Anyway. So thanks everybody for watching/listening, aka hi Don, and as we like to sign off, kiss my grits for this